My name's Criden with InTouch Financial. I work on the life side to help our agents with life insurance. And our goal today is to talk about a lot of the sort of the benefits that that life insurance provides our agents, provides our customers, our clients, and some of the products, just to kind of give an overview. Because what we're going to do in the future weeks and months ahead, we're going to drill down on a lot of the topics, and we'll have a list of some of the topics as we move along. So just to cover a lot of the basics of life insurance, we'll talk about why buy life insurance, what are the advantages of life insurance, agent benefits, what are the benefits for us as agents in addition to the benefits for clients, and talk a little overview about the products and then some of the future programs that we have coming up. So with that, to get started on why buy life insurance, we'll put them all up here that I have. I came up with, I don't know, there's probably a bunch, but I came up with a quick 9 of why buy life insurance. And the first one, and this is probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but I would probably say it's 80–90% of the people who buy life insurance is really to protect their family. This could be the young family with or without children, just getting started. This could be a middle-aged family with or without children, looking to protect income for a spouse, make up for lost income. This is the loved example. This is why we buy insurance. You know, we have our children, we have our spouses, and we want to make sure they're taken care of, that if something happens to me, my wife and child are taken care of for a set period of time. College expenses. This is really more and more common these days. I have a high school senior graduating on Saturday, actually, and you know, we've done our college shopping, and I could not believe some of the college costs that are out there. And if you figure 4 or 5 years of this, it's astronomical. So even in-state schools here in Georgia, it still can be 5 if they're living at home to 20, 25,000 if they're living on campus, and multiply that out by a couple kids for 4 or 5 years. It's a huge expense. Another reason, final expenses. This has always been a sort of popular expense because people want to make sure that they don't leave their loved ones with the burden of a burial expense. I looked up just the other day, what is the actual burial expenses, or estimated burial expenses? It was $7,000 to $10,000. And if you also include your last medical expenses and other expenses that come up with the death, it could easily be $25,000 or even more. So final expenses are a very popular way to talk to customers. It's always an expense we don't want to leave our loved ones. Mortgage protection, again, also very common. I've done a lot of this over my career. Is if I die, do I want my wife left with the mortgage? Obviously, the answer is no. And I would hope your customers would be in the same position. Can we buy a policy to protect our mortgage? And yes, we can. We can also include it with, when we're doing a needs analysis, to look at the total picture for a customer. But a lot of clients, they want a mortgage policy. They have a $200,000–300,000 mortgage. If I die, my spouse is not left with it. Businesses, a lot of people who buy insurance do it for business purposes. There's key person, used to be key man, now it's key person, which I readily agree. It should be key person protection. Buy-sell agreements, that if I die, if I have a partnership, if I die, my wife would be bought out by a partner. There's insurance that can be done for that. It can also be executive benefits. A lot of big corporations offer life insurance as a benefit. Charitable giving, this is also quite popular. A lot of people want to leave in the will, or as a benefit, some life insurance to a religious organization. It could be a medical charity. It could just be any philanthropic organization. So they want to leave something to that charity. And charitable giving through life insurance is a great way to pass on money that way. Taxes, very interesting because you got state and federal inheritance taxes, and right now the federal inheritance tax is on the high side, but several states have very low limits where the federal inheritance tax comes into play. So you can buy a policy to offset some of those taxes. Government always gets paid first. Retirement and savings, this is the cash value part of life insurance. Retirement savings, how can I add to my retirement? There's you have limits with 401ks, IRAs, so you can buy a policy that builds up cash value. And when you're building up the cash value, you're building up extra retirement, you're building up savings, so you can borrow against that. You can buy more insurance. You can do a lot of things with that. But if you just need cash, it's a great way to use that buildup of cash value. Living benefits, this is a great way to say that if your customer, your client, does not have to die to collect on their policy. Very popular these days with if there's a chronic illness, a terminal illness, critical illness, that the policyholder can draw some of that benefit out before there's a death. So they are the direct recipient of those living benefits. A couple other things that, you know, around why buy life insurance, special needs, people who have special needs children. It's always good to have a policy, maybe even larger policies, because the expenses needed for special needs children over their lifetime. A lot of people want to leave an inheritance to a son or a daughter, for example, for buy a business or start a business, to buy a house. So it's a great way to pass on that legacy. Paying debts is another example. There's other debts other than a mortgage. I know a lot of people, even now, 20, 30 years later, they still have student loans. So we want to make sure those debts and other debts that are incurred are taken care of. And older family members, very common these days that the parents are moving in with their children. And so if something happens to us and we have parents living at home, we want to make sure they're taken care of also. Okay, so some of the advantages of life insurance, and just these are very common, so just kind of go through quickly. Cash to the family if the insured dies. If I die, my wife gets a pool of money to use for whatever expenses she needs to keep the family going. Because death loses my income. If you lose my income, and if I'm the primary breadwinner, then she's going to need cash for 5 or 10 or 15 years, depending on the family circumstances. As a matter of fact, that's going to be our next session on June 1st. We're going to talk about what is the right amount? How much does a client need? And we call it our client needs analysis. Favorable tax advantages, definitely generally tax-free insurance from insurance policy benefits are for the most part tax-free. Also, the cash value grows tax-free, and that's a great advantage that you don't have to pay tax as your policy is growing. Policies can also be very flexible. Some policies you can decrease the death benefit if there's a financial hardship. You want to keep the policy going, but maybe you want to decrease the death benefit to lower the premium to get over some financial hiccup in a client's life. Also, policies can be converted. A lot of policies, term policies, can be converted at certain periods of time to a permanent policy. So the advantage there is you can start out with a term. Maybe that's what you need now. Then your circumstances change. You want a permanent policy, a whole life policy. You can convert it that way. Again, we talked about many policies accumulate cash value. That's your retirement, your savings. You can use the cash value to borrow against. You can use it to pay future premiums, buy more insurance. A lot of things you can do with cash value. So a lot of advantages to buying for life insurance for just that purposes. And then again, we talked about living benefits. It's a lot of the objections. Sometimes you reach that objection from your client. Well, this is not for me. It's really for my spouse because I'm dead. Well, that's not true in the case of living benefits, and a lot of policies come with living benefits at no extra cost. And we can say, well, if there was an illness, a terminal illness, chronic illness, that you're going to be able to collect on these types of policies. And one other advantage I didn't put down here, but also riders. Life insurance policies can come with riders. Waiver of premium. If you're disabled, hey, the policy will be paid for, or keep on being paid. A return of premium, popular on term policies, where you can get the premium you pay back if you keep the policy for a certain number of years or for the entire contract. So also spouse and children can be added to life insurance policies. So a lot of advantages to life insurance. But also, there's also advantages to our agents. And thank you for all the agents that are joining the call today. And the first one is we try to be full service agents. We don't want to, a lot of agents sell one type of product, and that's great. And a lot of people do that. They're health agents, they're life agents, they're property casualty agents. But a great way to show the client benefits is to be a full service agent. Sometimes, maybe not the best example, but State Farm did this a while back. State Farm started a property casualty. They did life. They went into banking products. You could have a savings account. You can borrow from them. So a lot of the State Farm agents went to really that full service agent. We can do the same as independent agents. If we offer health, maybe let's do life. If we're property casualty, we can do also life and health. So by cross-selling and being that full service agent really gives us more time with the customer. It also prevents other agents getting to speak with your client. So if they come to us, we're able to help them. Cross-sell opportunities, like I said, life and health go really nicely together. If you're a health agent, you building up that rapport with the customer. Let's see if we can also talk to the customer about life benefits, and the other way around. If you're a life agent, health benefits. All year round, life insurance is a great example of all year round business model. We do not say to clients, you can only buy life insurance this period of time. Like in health insurance, where you have the open enrollment periods, which is maybe limited, maybe 6 weeks. Life insurance is an all year round product. Clients are ever changing needs. There's always, and I wrote a couple down here, death, births, weddings, graduation, retirement, health changes, divorce. There's all kinds of things that happen they buy a house, they sell a house. There's always something changing in a client's needs. And that's just a great time to talk to that client. And it really gives us an opportunity to keep in touch, and sort of leads into the next bullet. It gives you an opportunity to keep in touch with your client on a consistent basis. Send them a birthday card. When is the annual policy review? I want to review, make sure we're all okay on your policy. Did you want to make any changes to your beneficiaries? Things like that. And that also leads into more referral opportunities. The more products we can offer the customer, the more ways we communicate with the customer, the more opportunities we're going to get referrals.
After the tone.
Okay. Okay.
Healthcare Central. We look through our records and notice you.
If everyone could put their phone on mute, that'd be great. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So now just we'll talk a little about life insurance, the types of life insurance products. We'll do this fairly quickly because it's a discussion, entire discussion for each of these types of products. You start off with life insurance, and you got term and you got permanent. So if you start off with term products, very basic, there's no cash value. It's for a set period of time, 10, 20, 30 years. It's very easy to understand. You pay a premium, you get the protection. If you buy a $100,000 policy for 20 years, you pay your premium, monthly, quarterly, annually, however. You die, your beneficiary gets the amount. So, a lot of policies can be converted from a term policy to a whole life or for the entire lifetime. And you can include riders to cover spouses, kids, things of that sort. And you can also have living benefits also for these types of policies. Level term, is very common. You have $100,000 for 20 years. You pay a premium. The premium doesn't change and the term doesn't change, or the amount of coverage doesn't change. Whereas the other side, decreasing term, very common in the mortgage protection, for a mortgage protection product, the premium will stay the same, but your coverage will go down to mimic your mortgage. So as your mortgage goes down, the amount of your coverage goes down, but the premium stays the same. It's a great way to protect the mortgage, so it's not left to a surviving spouse. On the permanent side, exactly, permanent meaning is for your entire life. Most of these policies build up cash value. Most of these policies have a steady death benefit. You can borrow against the cash value. You can buy additional insurance. It can be used for like a variety of things we talked about previously, estate planning, retirement. A lot of people use this for, they have limits in their 401k or limit to their IRA and they want to put extra money away. This is a great way to park some extra money in a permanent type policy, building up cash value, and you can use that further down the road. Some of the other listed as you get further down, traditional whole life is basically that whole life. You pay a premium for your entire life and you get a death benefit to your entire life. So if you die, there's a benefit there. A lot of policies will have a guaranteed return to build up cash value. They'll offer a minimum floor and that can be raised if the rates are higher. So it's a great way, excuse me, to build up cash value, and they pay dividends. A universal life also builds up cash value. It has a lot more premium flexibility. You can also borrow against it, and you can get a return. So you can break that out to like variable universal life, where you're going to get it invested in securities, mutual funds, things of that sort. Or you can do index, which is going to be based on an index where you have some upside and you have a limited downside. So we'll get into these in much more detail in future sessions, because it really is a lot of benefits, especially on the index universal life and the variable. We want to make sure that everyone knows the difference. Okay. So that takes me to my my matching game quiz here, and we'll do this fairly quickly so we can open up to see if anyone has any questions. But my matching game is, we'll start it, we'll give you the answers here. Term life is usually the least expensive. So this is where you're going to get X number of dollars, gives you X amount of coverage. So you buy a 20-year policy for $100,000 at a $100,000 benefit. You keep paying the premiums. You get the best. You get the $100,000 benefit, and it's the least expensive, age-based, health-based, all that. Whole life is the more the traditional type. It's permanent. It's for your entire lifetime. Decreasing term. This covers your mortgage balance. So as your mortgage balance goes down, the amount of coverage goes down. The premium stays the same, but it's going to pay off that mortgage. It's going to try to mimic the mortgage as best it can. Universal life is the flexible premium. It's a whole life type policy. And then the index provides upside and a limited downside. It uses investing in an index of like an S&P 500, for example, and it has limited downside, and there's a possibility for that upside. So we'll talk about some, real quick, some of the future things, sessions that we're going to have at InTouch. Client needs analysis, we're going to do that on June 1st. Life insurance products, we really did very quickly here, where we could talk about term and whole life and really get down deep into the benefits. Living benefits, a great product to have included with life insurance for your customers. So if there's a terminal illness, for example, there's going to be a death, say 6 months or 3 months, whatever, you can take money from the policy and use it for whatever you like. Quotes and applications. How do I get a quote? What's the application process look like? It can be a little complicated at first. I know sometimes when you do the first one, it's really kind of difficult. The second one's so much easier. The third one's a piece of cake. So the quotes and applications, and a lot of it varies by the carrier. So we'll also get into carriers. A lot of carriers have strengths. Some do indexed universal life. Some do really well with term. So a lot of the carriers have their own strengths and opportunities. So we'll get into those, maybe even invite some of our carrier partners to join the call. COVID-19 and the impact on life insurance. This is going to be a popular topic that we'll put together. And how is COVID-19 impacting life insurance? One thing it is doing, it's making some of the exams are, the insurance carriers are going away from exams, and they're doing a lot more, what can they pull up from public records and things of that sort, from MIBs and prescription drugs and driver's license. And they're really trying to do that. Not everyone wants to go to the doctor or have someone come in their house. Okay. Field underwriting. Field underwriting talks about what do we do when we talk to the customer? How do we rate them? We're the first line to give that information to the underwriters. Is it standard? Is it preferred? Is, are they smoker, non-smoker, things like that. So a lot of information on field underwriting. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to put this on our website, so you can, if you ever want to come back to this. Also, if you wanted to get an appointment, if you don't have an appointment with InTouch, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through the process, the appointment process. So you'll be with InTouch, and you'll be also with the carrier partners that we have. So it's a great way to enhance your offerings to your clients. We do a lot of one-on-one training, a lot of questions that come into us, but more than happy to help on that basis too. So we want to make sure we're there to help you as you're helping your clients. If you do have any questions, my phone number is there. This is my cell phone, so feel free to give me a call or send me an email. And I will also send everyone a copy of the presentation. So with that, kind of real quick, go through that. I wanted to leave time for questions. If anyone has any questions, just unmute your phone, and I'd love to hear your questions. Anybody have any questions? Okay. All right, Cliff, I don't know, you're unmuted, so I don't know if you had a question or not. No? Or Armando? Okay. All right. Again, if you're on the call, if there's no questions, again, if you're on the call Monday morning, I apologize for the technical issue we had. We got it resolved this morning. Everything hopefully went off without a hitch. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. And if you don't have your appointment through InTouch, again, feel free to give me a call. I'll walk you through the process, send you the link. And but if you have any questions, certainly give me a call. Thanks for joining, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.